How y'all doing? Hey, great day down here at AGC. You spent some time last week, I understand, with the governor.
Last week?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Last Thursday?
Yeah.
He had that big debate,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
and you were sitting, talking and chatting with him. You ended up running out. What's his favorite food?
Oh, was candy, you mean?
Yeah,
Twizzlers?
Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Twizzlers and old hot dogs, by the way, I've learned.
Okay.
Okay, not the hot dog fresh off the grill, the one that sat at Cumbies for like 4 hours on the rotator.
Okay.
That's all shriveled up and friggin' gone. No one else would eat.
Noted.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's just. I mean, that was your Thursday. You had a pretty big Thursday.
Yeah, I'm a big. Every day's big for me.
Is
really.
it?
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
So we're. The other thing you spent some time up there at that
Hotel Champlain.
Hotel Champlain.
Yeah, big annual meeting coming up. The virtual day is on the 3rd,
Yeah.
and the in-person day is on the 4th at Hotel Champlain.
That's the one down there on Lake Champlain?
Yeah, on the water. All the renovations are done. It looks great inside.
Why are you doing it down there?
Oh, well, I mean, there's this rumor going on that there might be a fireworks show on a barge out in the water.
A fireworks show at the end.
Yeah.
And I understand you negotiated so they're going to have bars up on the balcony.
So on the balcony, currently we'll have one bar to the left, and then we'll have two kegs set up on either side.
Kegs
Yeah.
on bicycles, because
Yeah.
you're a big biking guy. And
I like biking.
And you thought kegs on bicycles would be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
And I understand you're giving that beer away for an hour.
Yeah,
Free beer from like 8:30 to 9:30 to watch the fireworks.
sure.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet, but I'll probably hear it soon.
Okay. So we're going to talk about workplace violence today. Is
Yeah.
that what we're on tap for?
I think so. That nice on tap.
On tap,
Yeah.
leading back to the kegs.
Good callback, yeah.
Just I'd blend right into what.
Sure.
So we're going to talk about workplace violence, and Ben brought up the fact that we've talked about workplace violence already, and why are we doing it again? Well, part of the reason is, and I got a couple phone calls on this, and you actually called me out on it in the middle of last week's
Toolbox talk?
Toolbox talk, that you said some stupid thing.
No, it's because there was a fly or a wasp flying all around, and I was trying to kill it.
And I think I told you to stop or I'd beat the shit out of you.
I think you did say that.
And that might not have been right.
No, I mean, a lot of the fans out there reached out. They were worried about me.
But that might not have been the best way to handle that.
No.
And I think we should talk about bullying in the workplace. And before we do, I should acknowledge that I probably shouldn't have said it.
So, are you apologizing?
I am.
Okay.
Okay?
Well,
I think that's important. I think we as a community have forgotten two things. One is how to say thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, you do a lot. Staff here does a lot. People do a lot out in the field. And I think it's important to say thank you for what's being done. The other thing is, sometimes we make a mistake. Sometimes we do or say something that's not right, or didn't work the way we thought it would, or didn't sound appropriate. I think it's important that we apologize and say, yeah, I'm sorry, I screwed up. It's all on me.
I accept your apology. But a lot of times...
That's really important to me.
What, accepting it?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's less of the apology and more of a change in behavior. You can apologize all you want, but if you don't really change the behavior or stop doing what you're apologizing for, then really the apology doesn't mean much.
What is missed in this is our banter, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes.
Circle back on that.
But our banter is probably, if looked upon by a third party,
right,
would probably not be correct.
Like the fans, yeah.
Yeah, the fans of
me.
Your safety
My fans.
talks.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I wanted to talk about, or what we were going to talk about, or what you set your, because you got your Vermont State Police news releases here.
Yeah.
What I said was we were going to talk about workplace violence, and you're like a pro in this workplace violence thing.
Yeah, I just read the news, so I know what's going on.
And you've talked to a few places on it.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk at the National Safety Council, their conference,
Yeah.
On this topic for an hour
Okay,
in Manchester. It was a good learning experience.
okay. And according to OSHA, there's like 2 million people across the country that are victims of bullying or workplace violence of some sort. And it's inter-company violence or inter-company bullying that is most prevalent out there on our job sites. And consequently, you companies out there should be creating a workplace violence prevention program, and it should ensure that all employees, one, are aware of it, and two, that you address not only outside sources but inside sources.
Right.
And you're good enough that you have, if you click, right? Well, am I right?
Yeah.
Can you show us on your green screen?
No, I don't have a green screen yet, but we kind of need one. So
Yeah.
if
You can just
you scroll.
Yeah.
and you-
point and
Yeah.
they'd see it.
yeah, they might. Yeah.
But
Unless they clicked on your email that was hacked, then they wouldn't see it.
that was a
Yeah.
whole nother issue. We'll talk about that sometime. Cybersecurity,
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
okay? But if you scroll down, you can see a little place and you can download a boilerplate workplace violence piece. And what it's going to show you is, number one, we should increase our education to employees out there.
Right.
So they truly understand what is acceptable conduct. I mean, so what's happening is we've got these two generations,
Yeah.
right? And they're intermixing, and it's your generation, which are more touchy-feely kind of.
In tune with our emotions
In
and
tune.
wanting to talk about our
There's
emotions.
a good word.
Yeah.
In tune with your emotions.
Yeah.
And then there's my generation
Right.
that's just, let's just get this job done, suck it up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you hear that?
Pretty often.
Okay, suck it up, let's just get this done. And that, we've got to blend those two generations.
Right, because we're working together now, so
Okay.
we should probably get along.
And then we should probably have some sort of way or mechanism so that you can log or file incidents of bullying.
Yeah, a reporting or record aspect to a plan is huge because being able to track,
Repeat offenders like myself.
yeah, being able to track complaints and saying, this is your third time from two different people, maybe, you got to lay off a little bit.
Okay, lighten up.
Yeah.
Be a little more respectful of other folks.
Or just, hey, Richard, your language on the job site really hasn't been appropriate the last month, and you've made 3 or 4 people uncomfortable.
You think it's the language, or do you think it's the actions?
I mean, it's both.
Okay.
If I come on and the first thing you're doing in the morning is making fun of me for doing this, doing that, doing this, I mean, I'm not going to want to come to work, right?
All right.
Like, because Richard's...
I got 5 things he's going to beat me up for before I even start.
Right.
See, I think that's more actions than language.
Well, sure. It's different for everybody. Some people are more sensitive to language than they are actions.
Okay. So if we have and people should be trained on this. Everybody should understand it. We should understand what our policies or programs are. And if there's an incident, we should run an investigation right off. I mean, don't wait a week to run an investigation. Put somebody on it right off and try to figure out what that incident was and how it went.
Right, because I mean, especially when we're dealing with the mental health crisis that we're in, sometimes, a week is too long.
Okay.
If I'm already not feeling well and I'm just getting beat up at work, like my life just sucks.
So if you have a bullying, harassment, workplace violence policy,
yes,
if employees should know that you have it, it should be incorporated in your company safety day. I mean, that would be a good time, and do something more than just read from the book. Talk about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable out there.
Right, and it gets tricky because if you and I have been working together for 15 years, what's acceptable, the way that we talk is obviously going to be different than the way we talk to someone who was hired 2 days ago.
Okay.
And knowing that is important.
But changing that.
Sure.
Changing that.
Sure.
Piece, because I don't care how we talk, it's how it's inferred by somebody else out there, right?
Yeah.
A third party looking at it. And people, employees, whatnot, have to be comfortable with having a conversation with that foreman or that supervisor or somebody on that site. So always speak with somebody that you feel comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because every one of these job sites, I like to say they're packs. I mean, like a wolf pack out there.
Yeah.
Right? And you like to call them families or communities. And so that's two different interpretations to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves and wolf packs tend to be more aggressive than families or communities.
Yeah.
And so, one, you should probably try to, if you feel like you're being bullied or intimidated, you should probably go to one of your friends and talk to them about it and see what their interpretation of it is.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, in the situation last week, I just told you, you probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
Yeah, because it's probably not going to work.
Well, yeah, and we were in the middle of taping something, and I don't even know what the hell you were doing, but it was aggravating as shit.
Right, but obviously, it was interpreted wrong because we had a bunch of people call the office wondering about how I was feeling after that.
Why did I threaten to beat the shit out of you?
We already talked about it because there was a fly.
A fly. Chasing. You were chasing a fly.
Right.
Okay.
I want to talk about resolving the issue informally.
Okay, how'd we do that?
Well, kind of what we're doing right now is resolving it because you just apologized in the beginning of this after we had some time to think about it.
Yeah. And
gather our thoughts.
Okay.
And I accepted your apology.
Okay, and your feelings are okay? Because that's important. We've got to understand, oh God, I never thought I'd talk about this. We got to understand feelings.
Right. Well, it didn't hurt. That's usually how you and I communicate. But to us, it's normal. But to someone on the outside, like our viewers, it's not normal.
That's that third party again.
Right, yeah.
Okay, because it's really irrelevant how you and I feel.
Right.
What is relevant is how other people see and feel. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be how they interpret our company.
Okay. And
if it's an outsider walking by hearing us talking to each other, they're going to say, wow, they aren't very nice to each other at AGC.
Okay. And the other thing, I tried to brush it off last week, and it didn't. I mean, I was the perpetrator, and it didn't really affect me a great deal, and I didn't think it was wrong, but it's how you, as the victim, the victim, perceived it, correct?
Yes. If it's brought to my attention, I just say, oh, well, Richard always does that. He didn't mean anything by it.
Okay.
What I just did is completely pushed away how you felt about the situation.
So I think, one, I think you consult your organization's bullying harassment policy. You speak to someone you feel comfortable with. You try to resolve the issue by talking it through informally. And if you can't get through those, you then follow whatever your company complaint procedures are, which you can find in that thing that you just scrolled down and downloaded.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But if we were to say there's 4 or 5 important things that we should take away from this.
As an employer?
As an employer.
Right.
What would those be?
Well, you touched on it earlier, but if we get a complaint that comes in, taking it serious and acting on that quickly, for a few reasons. One, because it shows that you care about the employee, and two, that it's not going to allow it to continue.
Okay. Discipline involved?
It depends, because we're going to talk about having solving it informally first.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if it continues, maybe. I don't run my own company, so it would be up to the employer and what they feel.
Well, what if it's the employer?
Being
perpetrator.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know.
Okay.
It's kind of like the situation that we're in now.
Again, it's how the victim perceives it.
Right.
And I think that's number 2 was you can't judge whether you thought it was offensive, they thought it was. If somebody there felt it was offensive, then we've got to deal with it.
Right.
Right? How about, because you and I have that relationship that we beat things around back and forth and whatnot, I think it's irrelevant if the victim appeared to be joining in. If you join in, and you did last week.
Yes, because a lot of times you're in a situation where that might be the easiest thing to do. Because in a situation like that, maybe I was uncomfortable, and instead of saying, Richard, you can't talk to me like that, it's just easier for me to laugh and joke along because I'm just so uncomfortable, I don't know what else to do.
Okay. So if a third party raises a question or a complaint that they witnessed some sort of harassment, discrimination, rather than the victim themselves, then the employer should still investigate.
Right, yeah. If Deb had heard that and come up to me after and said, Ben, I just heard Richard say that, how did that make you feel? Blah, blah, blah.
Those feeling things again.
And I'd say, it's fine. We do that all the time.
Right. But we should investigate it. Somebody should bring it to our attention so that it doesn't continue in that uncomfortable world that we create by bullying folks.
Right, and I think the biggest part is just kind of starting that conversation first.
Okay.
If you're the bystander, not being scared to start that conversation.
Okay. And then anyone who raises a complaint can't face any sort of detriment to doing so.
Yeah,
you got to be open. You got to have an open door policy. You got to be able to allow people to come in.
Wraps into the whistleblower stuff.
Yeah.
Like on the OSHA side.
Okay.
So.
Boy, that was heavy.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about some more fun stuff?
Sure. What you been doing? I mentioned at the start that you had a pretty good day Thursday. There's you know what? No, I can't bring it up.
No, don't bring that up.
Does your mother watch these things?
No.
Huh?
No.
If your mother doesn't watch, I can bring it up.
You can bring it up.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to be held accountable.
Well, it's not.
For your getting in trouble.
I can buy whatever.
Because of stuff you buy.
I can buy whatever I want.
Sure.
It's just because my dad's wrapped into it.
You're the guy that gets hurt doing nothing more than disc golf.
No, I have. Yeah, isn't that ironic? Motorcycles, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, mountain bikes, and I get hurt playing disc golf.
Disc golf.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
So I don't want to bring up the fact that you might have bought a 4-wheeler.
No.
I'm not going to even mention it.
Oh, gosh, what was I talking about? Oh.
But we were going to talk about workplace violence because you're like a pro in this world.
We already talked about it.
Yeah, but you brought some... Because I set this up, I didn't tell you what we were really going to talk about.
Yeah, you never tell me what we're going to talk about. So every day I come to work, I look at the Vermont State Police news report.
For area happenings?
Yeah, it talks about arrests, incidents, public information stuff, just about what's happening in our community. And if you go on there, there's a lot of equipment getting stolen. In this case, it was St. Johnsbury, some sort of compactor and some other stuff, like $9,000 worth of stuff stolen from a job site.
People coming on job sites threatening contractors.
Yeah, depending on, we got to be able to do a little risk assessment on where our job site is and find out if we need some sort of emergency action plan or just being like, talking to the workers and just saying, this is what we're going to do if a stranger comes on, and this is how we're going to handle it.
So that comes back to our annual meeting up there at the
Right.
hotel in Burlington, Hotel
Champlain.
You've planned some breakouts, and one of them is crisis management,
Probably.
communications. You're putting that out there on the thing. People should probably tune into that.
Yeah, best builder also.
Oh, we've got that's at dinner. That's after the
I know, it's just-
cocktail hour.
I want people
The
to.
cocktail hour is before the big fireworks. The cocktail during the fireworks. You got the free beer. You've got this whole big thing going on. I mean, see, if you had a green board, what would you do right now?
I'd just be spinning through stuff. Facebook Marketplace. I'd just be scrolling and pointing out the best deals of the week on Marketplace.
Yeah.
Because that's usually how I spend my time.
Okay.
Buying stuff I don't
But
need.
we've got a great annual meeting coming up, and you can see everybody has these workplace incidents or bullying or whatnot, and we've got to work more on it.
As an employer, yes. 2, best builder. 3, annual meeting.
Those are 3 things you want people to take away from this.
Yeah, and your apology.
Okay.
That's it. That's a 4th.
That's huge, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, in that sense, there are 5 things we actually talked about in this disjointed conversation we had.
Well, if we're gonna be honest, this is the second time we've filmed this.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Me either. The mic may not have been on the first time.
But whose responsibility was that?
That was my responsibility, and I apologize.
Okay. I'm not sure I accept it
Yeah.
based on the fact that we'll see if next time you
If my behavior changes.
Okay?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
point.
that's really important to me. It's not the apology, it's the fact that we change our actions.
Right.
Which 5 things employers should remember when responding to bullying or harassment claims. 1, once a complaint is brought to your attention, investigate immediately.
Right.
You can't judge whether the perpetrator thought it was offensive or not.
Right.
It's how the person that was being addressed thought it
How
was.
it was
or not.
received. Right.
That's correct. And then it doesn't matter whether you were joining in and having fun with it or not. It's how it looks to a third party.
Right.
And third parties, if you feel people are being harassed or bullied, you should probably go to somebody and talk to them.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really hard being a bystander, but do what you know is best.
And again, if somebody raises a complaint or whatnot, you really can't punish them. They can't be treated any differently. Let's try to just get along.
At the end of the day, we're all working with each other, and it should be a fun experience.
Well, I don't know if it should be fun. It's work.
I have fun at work.
Okay. But there are 2 lines that we should all remember.
Right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Right? I don't care whether you're your age, my age. We should just figure that out.
Yeah,
That's
because
pretty
we're
easy.
going to be working with each other for a little bit longer. So.
Okay. With that all being said, annual meeting. But Ben, it's great being here, working.
It's honestly great. If you ever need us for anything, 802-223-2374.
I'm Richard,
I'm Ben.
and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Remember, we're here for you. Thank you all. Have a good week.
Oh, it's a long weekend too. So I hope you had a good long weekend. Yeah.
Are you working Monday?
Oh, well, if the starter comes in for the Model A, yeah.
Okay. And should you, just be on standby for a call?
I've got a pager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Richard pages me every time he needs me.
Okay. Hey, we'll see you later. See you next week. I think we'll jump into that cybersecurity next week.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Huh?
Maybe we bring in some of Phil's guys.
Oh, boy.
Or the governor's guys.
Yeah. Oh.
That would be a good idea, actually.
Hold on. Did you just call him Phil?
Yeah, I didn't mean to. It's because you.
Tight.
It's
You're
because
kinda
no.
tight.
It's because you always say it, and I'm just used to hearing
I
it.
bought him a bag of licorice, and I just, he's Phil.
No. No.
Thank y'all. Have a good day. Bye now.